Hi, I'm David. This is my podcast. We're going to record this. It's the first one ever. It's a pilot. It's going to be terrible. Hopefully, it's not terribly boring, but there's some likelihood that that's going to be the case too. So you probably shouldn't watch it. You should probably go ahead and block me on whatever you're listening on. But if you're still here, here we go. Yeah, so essentially, man, this is something that's been a long time coming, 2 or 3 years. Kind of wanted to do it. Have a lot of great conversations with a lot of fun, interesting people, and finally decided that hey, I'm going to throw some money at this idea, and here we go. So now I've got to got to start a podcast, or I've wasted a lot of money. So we'll see if I record a whole bunch of episodes or if I have some podcast gear here for sale pretty soon. So yeah, that's what's going on. So a little bit about me. I've been in the tech industry for about 10 years now, for several different companies, between the sales world and the sales engineering world. I'm really passionate about products, and what they're capable of doing. Love getting my hands dirty. I love breaking things. I love putting them back together. And I really love talking about it. So that's kind of priority number one for the podcast. And the other priority, priority 1B, is stuff. So we're going to interview a lot of people, and we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We'll talk about life. Hey, what are you doing? What have you been up to? Ski trips, coffee, cigars, whatever it is that you're into, and we'll have conversations about it. I got a few hobbies that we'll dive into over time. So really looking forward to it. Really looking forward to see what I can do, and how fun this can be. But so quick disclaimer: I do work for IBM. So go Big Blue. And there's going to be a lot of content here around IBM, but this is not an IBM podcast. This is a David Bailey podcast, and therefore the opinions and thoughts expressed in the podcast are my own. Now that that's out of the way, yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing here. I've got a little corny little thing I made just to tell you the name of the podcast. So here we go. And wow, it would help if it played. There we go.
David talks about tech and stuff.
All right. David talks about tech and stuff. So let's start talking about tech. So I recently this week went to a conference to represent the company and a couple products that we work with. And this was TechX out in Santa Clara, California. Just got back last night about this time. So it's about 10 o'clock here. I think I landed at like 10:30, something like that. Got back to the house about 11, finally crashed in the bed. Felt like I was probably going to sleep from Thursday night until Sunday morning. But woke up ready to go this morning, and here we are. So yeah, the conference. We had a really good time. There was a lot of people there. I walked around. I didn't even see half of the booths, and I swear I saw 100 to 200 just different booths. A lot of different focuses, so everything was kind of in sections. We had about 6 stages around the place where talks were happening, and then we were giving talks in our booth, like with headsets. Actually, it was a really cool thing. But companies were there focused on Internet of Things, edge computing, big data, and my focus was more around intelligent automation, which is kind of where my current career lies, and where one of the things I'm most passionate about. What you'll learn about me is I'm really passionate about efficiency. My wife has to deal with that, and I hate it for her, but it's part of it. And honestly, my passion for efficiency is where I make my paycheck. So with that, man, we've got some products that I work with that are really incredible to work with, because what they do is maximize the efficiency of people's applications. So got to talk about that a whole lot. But yeah, so So yeah, that's what I've been up to. On a personal note, I'm probably going to do this every podcast. I want to give you my soapbox of the day. So my soapbox of the day is I went to Costco today. And Costco is a wonderful place where you can get incredible merchandise at a low cost by paying a fee. I like to call it an exclusive club that only certain people get to walk into. And when I go, I get to be with about 1,000 of my favorite friends. Um, the soapbox part is those favorite friends. Uh, Man, gosh, I swear they have no spatial awareness at all. Like I'm walking, I'm trying to push this big, but you've seen, if you've been to Costco, you've had the buggy. I'm from Louisiana, so I say buggy, don't judge me. Take this big buggy and you're pushing it down the aisle and you got to hold it wide like you're on a motorcycle with the monkey bars, right? Anyway, so you're taking this big buggy down the aisle and everybody's got one of these big buggies, right? And so you're pushing it down the aisle, and now if you're going to stop and look at something, common decency is to put your buggy in a position that is not in the middle of the aisle, making it to where it's blocking off other people from walking down that aisle. Those aisles are big. There's a lot of room. You've got like 4 lanes of traffic in them suckers. Nope. These people, and not everybody at Costco, out of my 1,000 friends, it's probably like 100 of them that do this. You walk down the aisle, and all of a sudden, somebody is looking at something on the left side of the aisle, and on the right side of the aisle, about 3 feet away, just wide enough where you can't go around. Their buggy is 3 feet away from the aisle. There's 2 feet between them and the other side of the aisle where they're standing, completely oblivious to the fact that there's anybody else in the store. Whoo. And it causes inefficiency. And so today I was going down there, Costco, you walk in the door and you go down the main little alley, and then you go all the way back, and there's the seafood in the back and the meat and the chicken and all the fresh groceries and the bakery and the deli and the frozen section. And you come back up on the other side, and then you're ready to go to the checkouts. And today I had been in there a while. I had to stay for a whole 15 minutes, which was way too long on a Friday afternoon. I'm going down the main alley on the coming back up toward the checkouts today, and it's just like there's empty buggies in the middle of the main alley. There are people that have full buggies that have just left them in the main alley. And so I did display some initiative for my friends at Costco that were not in the way, that were actually trying to get around people. I started taking these buggies and moving them into the aisles so that people could walk. So I'm sure there were some people that did not appreciate that, but I'm also certain that there are some people that did appreciate that. So anyways, that's my soapbox of the day. So with that, I'm going to go back to TechX. So kind of soapboxy a little bit, but something that kind of struck me while I was there is like I'm walking around, I'm seeing all these booths, and 99.95% of these booths have the word AI displayed somewhere in their messaging. So everybody at this conference is doing AI. Okay. All right. So let's rewind a bit. There's a company I work for called IBM. We created this thing called it's like computer tabulating. I don't know, it's an R word, but basically what it did is it helped you calculate things. It helped you to compute. And it was, catch this, it had logic built into it. And when you did certain things, then it automated the process. So it was automated intelligence. It was automated logic. Another company, another company that I used to work for. Bill and Dave Packard, are, I forgot which is which, but Bill and Dave, Hewlett and Packard, they made the radio oscillator a long time ago. And guess what was in that? intelligence, and it was automated, and it wasn't human. And later on, they really changed the game with this really cool thing that came out, which was it was a pocket calculator. It was a calculator that you didn't have to plug in. It was cordless, and so all of a sudden you could hit 2 + 2 = 4. You know what else does 2 + 2 = 4? Python. It's logic. It's all logic. It's all bits and bytes. It's ones and zeros. And at the end of the day, every bit of AI comes back down to ones and zeros. And so when we're talking about, oh, we've got AI in our product, yeah, of course you do. Everybody has for a long time, because at the end of the day, every piece of technology, every piece of anything that's using a processor is essentially using binary at the very most basic point. And when you're able to take that binary and convert it to code, then all of a sudden you have automated intelligence. Now, I'm saying automated intelligence and not artificial intelligence or autonomous intelligence. But at the end of the day, if it's not human and it's intelligence, then it's artificial intelligence. And again, so taking that back, we've got to stop using the word AI. We've got to stop using the word AI. It's a lovely thing, but we've got to stop using that. That is like marketing people, listen to me. The tech guy understands that AI is a buzzword and they're not excited about it. What they're excited about is how you're using data. They're excited about what you're able to do with machine learning. Let's talk about the algorithms, like what algorithms are in place. You don't have to talk about how they work or how we make things happen, but because of these machine learning algorithms, because of these models that we've trained, because of these things that are going on that you're calling AI, talk about those things. So at the end of the day, they understand that, okay, what I'm actually partaking in is a trained model, and that trained model is able to utilize these various pieces of data to give me intelligence. Anyways, soapbox number 2, we're going to check that one off. Last thing I mentioned, data. So one of the more exciting things about TechX is I guess we can rewind a little bit. About 2-3 weeks ago, IBM had their Think conference, and during that conference, we came out public with a product we've been working on for some time, and that product was called Concert, IBM Concert. You can go and grab a link somewhere, Google it. It's going GA, generally available, I think, middle toward the end of this month, but there was the booth that I was working at, TechX. There was about 6 pods, and one of the pods in that booth was the product manager that's been working in the background on that concert product. And so I was like, hey, man, I don't understand what this product does yet. So let's talk. And so we talked and we talked and we talked, and really got a good understanding of where we're going with it. And then at the end of the day, when a new product is launched like that, you really want to know what problem it solves, right? We don't just make products because, hey, this is cool, we can do this. No, at the end of the day, a company is going to make a product because it sells, right? And if it's going to sell, it has to solve a problem. And if it's not going to solve a problem, it's not worth developing. So what problem are we solving with this product? And so we got into that conversation because, like, I'm critical. I'm kind of a jerk. And so I need to, and I use auditory processing and being a jerk to learn. And so we went into it, and the guy he was a German guy, so he was fine with me being a jerk and being direct. So it was a really good time. We got along tremendously well. We had a great conversation about soccer from there. And if you ever meet the guy, then definitely ask him about soccer. But anyways, back to concert. See me being inefficient. Back to concert. So what concert from a problem solving standpoint, let's kind of discuss the problem. So if you think about CIO, VP of applications, VP of infrastructure, um, CISO, security officer, any of these guys, right? They need their company to run smoothly. They need to know that their applications are going to be available. They need to understand why they might not be available. They need to understand their risk. They need to understand performance efficiency. So their companies, your companies are investing in all of these tools that give you all kinds of data. And I work with a lot of them, and oh my gosh, the data that's available out there is insane. And it's really good that we have all that data. But at the end of the day, if you're an infrastructure VP and you're running, 6,000 VMs, do you really want to know what's going on with every single one of them every 5 minutes? No, absolutely not. What you want to know is what is relevant right now in this moment. And then if you're a CISO, you care about that, but you also care about the security aspect. You also care about utilization rates. You want to understand all of these things. And so we have all of these tools that help us to visualize everything. Okay, so let's back up. If we've got all these tools and now all of a sudden we have like data paralysis, because we can look at data all day long and never derive anything meaningful from it. So the problem that Concert is solving is it's taking all of this massive loads of data from various sources and bringing it all into one place and helping you to prioritize it. It's correlating the data. It's running algorithms on it to understand risk, understand usage, understand performance, understand those things in relation to the priority of the application. So if you look at like a dev environment, right? You might have a dev environment that has like a level 9 severity security risk, but it's a dev environment and only one guy has access to it, and it's completely not available to the public. Okay, cool. We've got to fix that. That is a priority. But over here, you've got two applications that don't have a security risk, but they're in danger of actually running out of storage capacity from some of the data that they're taking in off of the front end. And so you've got to fix that problem immediately, because if that storage goes down, then oh no, you've lost performance capability. If you hit 95% on your storage area network capacity, then that's a priority problem that has to be solved immediately, more important than the security risk in the dev department. So the way that we're siloed in our companies now, though, is that people are seeing these one thing and not the other. One guy's got his nose in this book while this guy's got his nose in this book, and nobody knows what's going on. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. So what Concert is able to do is bring that all into one place. So your infrastructure leadership, your application leadership can then prioritize actions for their company to take to make their application performance, at the end of the day, their user experience as efficient and secure as possible. So I'm pretty excited about it. I'm looking forward to getting to know the product a little more. And the great thing is that it integrates so smoothly with the messaging of the stuff that I'm working with every day, and with those applications, and with what those people that I talk to every day care the most about. So I'm really excited about that. Another thing from Think, going back, we and AI, right? Excuse me. Another thing from Think that we announced there was a new feature in one of the products that I work with is IBM API Connect. And so in IBM API Connect, we just introduced, and this is also going generally available later this month, a thing called AI Gateway. So what's exciting about AI Gateway is being able to get control of all of the tools that are out there being used by your your accountant is, or your marketing guy is out there typing up a brief for some product, and at the end of the day he doesn't know enough about the product to have a discussion about it and really make it meaningful. So he uses some type of generative AI, and he uses it so much that he subscribed to it, and he subscribed to it on the company's dime. And you now have no control over how many tokens he's using for that generative AI program, and you have no control over the cost. More importantly, you don't have any control over what he's sending out or any visibility to it. So, and if Tom in marketing is doing that, and somebody else has got another subscription to another generative AI program, and somebody else, and all of a sudden you've got this whole thing blown up, and what it produces is one, shadow IT that is not cost controlled, but it's also not secure. It's not governed properly. So you have no control over data governance, and you have no control over your IP security. So what we're able to do now with AI Gateway is, within the API Connect tool, you can create an endpoint that allows all these disparate people across your company that are using this AI technology, because no matter if you say they're doing it or not, I promise you they are. They're figuring out a way. They can now hit this API endpoint, and then that API endpoint can talk to all the different generative AI programs that are out there. And with that, you're now able to do rate limiting to control token usage. You can have access to logs of every letter that was typed and sent through those API calls. And so now you actually have some way of accessing data, so you can govern your data release more effectively, and control the costs that are being incurred across your company with these generative AI programs. So pretty excited about that one, and really looking forward to playing with that tool as soon as I can get my hands on it. But yeah, so yeah, I think that about wraps up most of what I've got going on. Got a little vacation coming up here pretty soon. Pretty excited about that with the family. Going out to California to do some fun things. But yeah, I think I need to get off of this thing and maybe take a breath, maybe breathe some air into my lungs, and be intoxicated with some good oxygen. So anyways, with that, when I say bye to people, for you, I want to know if you enjoyed this. Let's comment. If I said something stupid you didn't like, then comment. If you can relate in any way to my Costco fiasco, please comment. We can talk about it. But most meaningful, and drop a like, drop a subscribe. I'm gonna keep doing this. We're gonna have guests on. It's not just gonna be me every time, but every now and then I'm gonna get on here, and I am going to soapbox the heck out of this microphone. But yeah, so anyways, like, subscribe, but most importantly, wish you peace until the next time we talk. Thank you.
Tech and Stuff.